MCG. It's a perfect spring day for this knockout final, the first preliminary final of the 97 home and away series between the Western Bulldogs and the visiting Adelaide Crows. Last night, 77,531 fans packed into the stadium. At the moment, marginally less than that, but it is continuing to build. And of course, this game will decide who will play St Kilda on that one day in September. It's also been a big week for the Seven Network, as Coca-Cola, our major sponsor, counts down that one day in September. 7 was presented aptly with the number 7 Guernsey.
The 1997 AFL Premiership season, proudly brought to you by Victoria Bitter, for a hard-earned thirst. Telstra, making life easier. Qantas, the spirit of Australia. And McDonald's, the official restaurant of the AFL.
A huge crowd continuing to flock in here to the MCG. 7-2 has a big team today to bring you all the action. You won't miss a thing on footy's home ground. And a member of that team is Drew Morford. Drew, welcome.
Thank you, Sandy. Magnificent day, and this final series has a juicy, fresh look about it. After the demise of the Premiers last night, North Melbourne, St Kilda into the Grand Final, having been 10th last year, so 10th to a Grand Final is quite a rise. But the two teams playing today can rise even further. If Adelaide win today, they'll go from 12th to 2nd, or in a Grand Final, and that would equal a record set by Collingwood in 1977 and equalled last year by the Sydney Swans. But if the Bulldogs win today, they'll do something nobody's ever done before, and that is go from 15th to a Grand Final. What a prospect. Kevin Bartlett was a Richmond legend, but he used to follow the Doggies.
Well, I love the Bulldogs, Drew. I was there in 1954 when they won the Premiership. I was there in 61 when they lost to Hawthorn. What a year it's been for Footscray. Changed their name to the Western Bulldogs. Moved to Optus Oval. Their players have been constantly in the news right throughout this year. I believe they've got the momentum and they think it's their destiny to play St Kilda in the Grand Final. Nothing between the two sides on ability and form. But I think with that momentum going, the Bulldogs will win today's big match. Your thoughts, Lee?
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. The MCG, it's a fantastic day. Gets my blood pumping. Certainly the Bulldogs players and supporters are looking forward to this day. They've got to start heavily favoured. They've had the week's break. We saw how St Kilda benefits for that last night. And certainly they've got the home state advantage. So the Crows are really going to have to do everything right to get into this game. But a similar situation that applied back in 1993 when Essendon played the Crows in the preliminary final. And Tim, you were part of that Essendon team that didn't turn out to be that easy.
No, it certainly didn't, Lee. We were absolutely confident that we're going to beat the Adelaide Crows. All we had to do was turn up and we'd be playing the following week against Carlton in the Grand Final. At half-time, we're 40-odd points down and staring defeat firmly in the face. No doubt Terry Boswell spoke to his players about that. He may have even brought the old video out, and Malcolm Blight, he would have been concentrating this week on what an achievement it will be to win here against the odds and for the Adelaide Crows to play in the Grand Final for the first time. Well, down on the ground, inside, getting a crow's eye view is Neil Curley and a former Bulldog coach, Terry Wheeler, and boys, magnificent conditions today for football.
It certainly is, Tim. Who would have thought after yesterday's rain, Terry, that we'd see a day like today? The grass, it's still a bit soggy, a bit wet, but in the centre, of course, it's very, very good conditions. But what we're going to see, of course, is young players standing up in finals pressure.
Oh, without doubt, Neil. I think there's great pace in this game. Both sides have got skill, they've got speed. The centre bounce area, that's going to be the most crucial. Two great big ruckmen in it, some great ball winners in amongst it. The side that gets it from there, that's the one that's going to have the best chance here today.
I think that's proved in modern day footy. If you can get that ball out the centre cleanly and get it to your full forward, one-on-one, it gives them a real... And it's a day for the high flyers.
No doubt about that. And Sandy, just before we go, during the week, the Crows colours were hung on one of our icons out west. We would like to have the right of reply.
Thanks, pal.
Yes, thank you, boys. Do us a favour too. Don't light it at the moment, though. We want curls for the remainder of the afternoon. So many stars on parade on 7 today. Another is over in the great Southern Stand. A former champion of the game, booted almost 900 goals. And I'm talking about Peter McKenna. Last night, Pete, we saw a star unearthed in Jason Heatley. What can we expect up forward today?
Well, it was lovely to see a conventional full forward last night under difficult conditions, Sandy. Perfect conditions today with the sun shining and a nice firm ground. It'll be a different forward setup as far as the Bulldogs are concerned, because down there we've got James Cook, who is leading up the ground. He's been a surprise packet, interchanging with Rowan Smith and Brett Montgomery. They've also got goal kickers there in Hudson. Also Darcy and Grant can chip in for a couple of goals. far as the Adelaide Crows are concerned, they'll rely heavily on Tony Modra. 84 goals for the season, 8 goals against the Bulldogs earlier in the year, but not many goals in recent weeks, so a big job for him. Maybe they'll have to rely on Darren Jarman sneaking down there and Troy Bond sneaking goals from that half-forward line. But I'm looking forward to the forward contest. I think at this stage you'd have to favour the Bulldogs.
Thank you, Pete. Well, we've talked about the coaches, we've talked about the players. John Russell officiated in 14 finals. John, welcome to you. And what about the pressure on the umpires, the much maligned men in white?
Well, as we know, Sandy, finals footy creates a lot of pressure on both players and umpires, and it's important the umpires settle into that environment very, very quickly, because if they can remain composed and comfortable in the environment, then it'll add to the spectacle. I suppose over the last couple of weeks we've seen a couple of performances affected by the environment, so I just hope that they can remain composed and add to the spectacle of the game.
Don't mention anything about marks, to be or not to be. More on that perhaps a little bit later on. But what about the week for the players once again? The build-up for the two respective clubs. Firstly, through the eyes of the Western Bulldogs, as seen by reporter Mark Doran.